Is there any public comment on issues with committee jurisdiction? Of course, we won't be taking any action on it at this time, but we'd love to hear public comment. Is there any? Hearing none, let's move on to the May 25th, 2022 committee meeting minutes. Have the committee read those minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Diane.
Is there a second on that?
You did the second, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel. Jeepers.
Come
Proud.
on now,
I'm
guys,
proud
let's
this
giving
morning.
Dan the wrong impression here, for God's sake.
I'm proud. Holy cow. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Executive Director, you're on.
I think Julie will touch on most of what's going on within the audit realm. We did send the last bit of data to the SOC auditors yesterday. They'll be on site next week. We did get who our leads will, or who our lead is with Legislative Audit Division. But we have no timetable on when they will be on site. I believe this is, they rotate financial and compliance audits, but for us, we typically don't get a financial or a compliance. We get both every year. So it is what it is. But I'll turn it over to Julie in her checklist review for the details on the SOC audit.
Is that it? Mark.
In the last board meeting, and it's on the minutes that we talked about the physical access to the third floor of the Colonial Building. Any status on that?
We'll likely get a management letter from the SOC auditors once they'll be on site next week. They'll see everything firsthand. It was an issue that came up, so
That's the
Well,
status.
that's the status. Yep.
All right.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Audit checklist. Julie, you're on.
Thanks, Maggie. Just touch on a few things in the audit checklist in regards to legislative audit. As Dan mentioned, we have no confirmation date yet as to when they will be on site with their planning and field work. We do expect it to be sometime in August. Usually they are in late May, early June for their initial planning and field work. They usually have already been to Board of Investments for some other preliminary field work in either July or early August. And so they are very late starting, but we don't foresee any problem with them coming when they do. In regards to Whipley,
Julie?
yeah,
Mark has a question.
So Julie, if they're starting so late and understanding that we need to get a report for the state's bond ratings, that sort of thing, you anticipate they'll be done in time, or is this going to drag out as well?
well, I think, Mark, their
Something that we have to
focus,
push and say, hey, we need this done.
I don't think we need to push it at this point. I think we've got a better cadence down with them over the last several years. Emily and Polly have automated a lot of the data, so the polls are a lot easier and they can get done, in a week what used to take several weeks. So I think we've created some time for them, but you're right. I mean, ours has to be done so that everyone else's can get done. But, my goal is to have it at least a draft opinion for the December meeting.
Okay, because we've gotten more efficient, but have they gotten more
We will facilitate their success as best we can.
efficient? Okay.
Whoa, that was good. There we go. I move
all I
we
got.
adjourn.
I think that's been a practice. Sorry, Peg.
Okay, Julie, go ahead.
in regards to Whipley, the draft fiscal year 22 SOC report will be presented during the October board meeting. They completed their walkthroughs in May. The walkthroughs went very well. They were all virtual. They are scheduled to complete their final testing and walkthroughs next week. Half the audit team is going to be on site and half will be completing their work remotely. And in preparation of that field work next week, they requested sample documentation from us. We did provide that. We provided it yesterday. We provided almost 1,300 documents per their sample request, which actually is right in line with what we have done the last 2 years. They requested documents in their sample pertaining to daily transactions, reconciliations, in-state loan, intercap, compliance, policies, procedures, security and access, and other areas. So as the previous SOC reports, they really do encompass all areas of the Board of Investment Operations. The other thing I wanted to touch on with the checklist is the governance policy review and revisions. On July 20th, the board met in a working session to review and revise the governance policy sections that were remaining in section 10 and 70.
So along those lines, I know that we have policies in this packet. I would request the board to defer approving those until October so that I can do one more review of them. I have found many errors. Not pointing a finger at anybody or anything, typos, errors, things that just didn't get fixed. I'd like to do one more, as I used to call it on my other board, megafication, before we approve them in October. If that's meets the pleasure of this board.
So was it any substantial things or just
well-
things we tried to correct didn't get all the way done or whatever?
Well, there was a few formatting things, how we laid things out. We were trying to make sure that it said reviewing, taking, that I was kind of a little picky, and I apologize for that. That's my nature. There were a few where lines were left in, so they had duplicate lines within a sentence that didn't make any sense. So,
As I talked, it doesn't sound like it's substantial policy.
no
it's
substantial issues.
Readability and formatting.
And just wording on some things that didn't make any sense the way we ended up. And
Well, I like to pick on you for this, but I'm glad you're doing it. It's really impressive. I thought I knew how to write a sentence, but apparently I don't.
well, and just so you know, just so you know, just so you know, Jack, the rules change all the time because from when I took writing years ago, it's different now on how you structure things and do things. But anyhow, I'd like to take one final look. I could get it done this week and
Yeah.
get back to these guys, and then they could send it out so we could review it before the.
We've got another meeting on August 16th for the administrative rule review, so we could do the adoption there.
We could.
It's a good idea.
All right.
If it's
So when
okay.
we come to that under tab 2, I'm just gonna say we'll defer that until the next meeting. Does that work for everybody? Okay.
You had Megafy, I always got Vilify.
So, okay, well, I prefer Megafy.
Yeah, it's different.
I actually thought that was a technical.
Okay.
All right.
It's another board I'm on. They termed it, so. Anyhow, any other questions on the checklist? Go ahead.
So
Mark.
on the policies, that you need any assistance with that, or you want to?
I can finish it.
Because I'll share one comment that I observed
Okay.
as well. And then I have one other question. Chair, in our minutes, it said that executive director mentioned that expected the draft SOC report in August, or for the August meeting. Now that we're going to see it in October, has that been delayed?
The SOC audit?
Yeah.
No, it's just moving this up, and then they're
That
on
back.
site.
Okay.
So
Got it.
that'll be at the October board meeting as opposed to the August this
And then
year.
we approve at the next meeting.
Right, and the CEM report will also be on the October. We typically see that in August, but because we're early, relatively speaking, for our meeting this month. So we bumped that, so that you'll get the core fixed income and proxy education this meeting, and then CEM and SOC audit next meeting. We just wanted a better population for the CEM report.
Any other questions? No? Do we don't have to approve this checklist. It's just an update.
Nope.
We don't have anything to approve.
No.
To vote on, gosh,
I mean, John's performance.
later.
Sure.
I guess that's it then. End of my committee meeting, so thank you.
Can we start early, Mr. Chairman? Sure. Okay, so I'll call the meeting of the loan committee to order. As we always do, I'll ask for public comment on issues within the committee's jurisdiction. Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on the agenda. The next thing is the approval of the committee minutes. I think on your table here is an updated loan committee minutes. I'm not really sure, Dan, what changed.
We had one correction on,
I can tell you what it is. It said down loan payment assistance program, and it should be down payment loan assistance. Of course,
Yeah, I
I
caught
got it.
that
Don't kill the messenger.
All right. So is there anything else we need to talk about on the committee meeting or meeting minutes? If not, I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes, the new minutes as submitted. Moved and seconded. Any other comments? If not, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Hearing none, the minutes are approved unanimously. Next thing on our agenda is Dan's report.
so ARPA funds, down payment assistance program round 2, continue to discuss with the budget office and our partners in the banking community. No update on timetable other than 95 percentile, we will get an additional round of funding. I think the details of the program will change a bit from based on the direction we'll get from the governor's office. So not something we will have input into, will just be the flow through. So that is in the works. You do have,
Does that mean focus of what the before?
I think there's an interest in charging, there's interest in interest because there was a change in the federal regulations from Department of Treasury. So interest is now allowed to be charged. I think that, you start to run into with an increasing rate environment, what's the blended rate look like with higher banknote rates and rate on this. So is there a sort of draw down or push down utility? But assuming we can still keep some semblance of working capital creation and hunt the repayment status or shrink the amortization schedule in the out years, I think it still will be a valuable tool. And it's revolving. So when we get 37 million back to begin with, and then whatever funds come in this tranche, we'll have a significant increase in available funds over the long haul for us to loan.
Is there any discussion about the next amount?
Less than 50, but no more details.
So is the governor's office, from our point of view, easy to work with or being realistic on what they're expecting from us?
Yes.
Do we stay under this, these rules or some other version of these rules with when we get repayments and we're able to reloan?
No, these, when we get the money back, it will be basically state funds. So all of the federal guidance is gone.
Okay.
It's a different program depending on what the need is at that.
Who will make that decision then? Will it be the legislature?
I'm sure everybody's going to want to make that decision. I think we will have some input because just from an administrative standpoint, we'll create a program that we can't administer or that won't be utilized, which we have several that the legislature has created that hasn't seen any sort of program use in over a decade. in this case, I think, we won't see the first cash till 2027. So a lot of time. And we'll see what the needs are at that point. Don't start singing.
Yeah, please.
Not a member.
Ex officio.
Anything else? Any questions for Dan? If not, we've got a request for a new approved lender. A little unusual where they're from. So Dan, are you gonna present that?
Doug or
Doug?
again, we had this new approved lender. They have an office in Lewistown. Even though they are Dakota-based, they are a nonprofit. So this gets back to our conversations from loan committee in real time. So Doug, Amy, you want to give us some of the details on this particular lender?
Well, I was contacted by the lender asking to become an approved lender. They've been in the Lewistown area for several years. The manager of the organization is from the Lewistown area and worked in North Dakota for this organization. So when she came back, she opened up the office in Lewistown. From what I could gather from the financial information that they provided, they're a well-run organization, been around in North Dakota. I believe they're based out of Fargo, but they've been around for many years. They specialize, I think, in the SBA 504 program, but they also do other types of lending. So that's about as much as I know about the organization.
So Doug, do they take deposits and stuff or just loans there in Lewistown?
Jack, I believe it's just loans, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Is that something we should know?
I don't think that would affect our approval, but we probably should know that.
Certainly, I could check into that and get back to you here hopefully today.
Yeah, Doug, what if any relationship do they have with any of the Lewistown based or Fergus County based nonprofit development organizations, or are they a competitor? Or, I mean, how do they fit into our sort of traditional nonprofit, locally based development organizations? Or do they?
Good question, Bruce. I think they act like an economic development organization as far as I can tell. So they could be competing with, I believe it's Snowy Mountain Economic Development in Lewistown, but they do offer some products that Snowy Mountain doesn't. In particular, the SBA 504 program. But I could definitely visit with the manager up there, to get her thoughts on competition and how they work with the other organizations within the area.
Well, and I want to add that, at least from my point of view, competition isn't necessarily a bad thing for the potential borrowers out there. So, but it would be interesting to know, Doug.
Sure.
From my point of view, the critical thing is their financial picture, that they're not a risky lender, and that it wouldn't cause us undue risk because they're approved by us. I do want to keep, make sure we don't approve everybody. There is some lenders that may not meet our standards, but as you know, in our policy, we set those, just reviewed them recently, and they do meet them all.
Yeah, and Jack, they have met all of our requirements as far as capital and net worth. So they've met all of our requirements as far as becoming an approved lender.
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay, so this, and, thinking back to the policy discussion and all that sort of thing. This says it's a certified development corporation. So my question is, who regulates this entity? That's one of the things we had discussion about.
Right. And trying to find within the approved lender revision, because that was one you sent us back to work on. And what we leaned on was 17.6.3027 and 203.12. So I guess let's start with the revision is not in place and their application's in. So they got in ahead of any change. So start there. The broader conversation about the revisions to the policy are the in-state loan program enabling legislation refers to long-term economic benefit of the state. And that long-term economic benefit of the state, as we presented it within the policy, is that they are regulated by federal banking standards, state banking standards, and have a presence in the state. Not only is the business growing who's getting the loan, but the bank is participating. The lender, the approved lender, is also participating in the state's economy. This would check that box because they are located in the state. They are here. They're regulated by Secretary of State and our Secretary of State. So they'd have to be in good standing there. And then they'd be regulated under the whatever nonprofit UCC stuff that would apply to their particular form of nonprofit.
Well, okay. Speaking of that policy, and maybe I was not looking in the right location, but I looked. I couldn't find a 17.6.203.12. Just maybe I was in the right location, but I couldn't find that 12. But then, so when you looked at their financials, was it their 990 or was it some other form of nonprofit 990 or was it some other form of financial statements, Doug?
It would have been audited financial statements and then interim financial statements, internal financial statements for the year. I think getting back to where it is in the MCA, 17.6.302.7, it says financial institutions includes, but is not limited to state chartered and federally chartered banks or savings and loans associations, credit unions, or development corporations, which are created pursuant to Title 32, Chapter 4. So this would be the development corporation as far as eligibility under the MCA.
So what market of code was that? 17 what?
17.6.302.7.
It's policy 70.7.
So with these questions, you still recommend that we proceed with approval, Dan, or Doug, do you feel comfortable? Or
Can I ask one question before we decide that?
the statute requires that the loan be made to a Montana entity, right? So it's not like they can loan money in Dakota.
Right.
So, I mean, I think to me,
Right.
that was an important point.
Right.
And that's what's said in the application or this.
And to your specific point, I think under the rules of the road as they are today, yes, they meet our criteria, and there would be no grounds for denial. I think under revised policy down the road, there may be some questions, but as it is today, they check all the boxes.
Go ahead. I guess I have a question. I might have misunderstood what we meant by regulated by either the state or a federal entity. The regulation that banks fall under is far more onerous than being in good standing under the Secretary of State and falling under some use. I mean, it's not even close, not even comparable. So I just wondered what we thought when we were setting that policy up.
So banks, well-regulated, credit unions, well-regulated, but we also have local development organizations that we work with. We don't have any of those regulations that apply to them, but they're some of our main partners in getting money out the door through the IRP program. So different layers of regulation. It is an example, one that's come up in the last several days. Doug, is it USDA is no longer requiring audited financial statements?
Right, USDA is no longer requiring unqualified audits from the economic development organizations that participate in IRP loans.
So we've had a number of them drop their audited financial statements. It's a fairly significant savings to that particular organization. But for us, I like a third set of eyes on everything we see, whether it's participation loan program coming in through a bank that's been regulated and audited, whether it's something within the infrastructure loan program with a local government that's had their financials submitted. So we're not going to pull down our requirement that they have audited financials if they want to be in the IRP program. They can build it into their spread. We're regulated at 2% interest on it. It just means that if they're going to charge 6%, part of that now goes toward making sure that they check the box and have unqualified opinions. That's our third set of eyes on it. So different for banks, different for credit unions, but the LDOs are where, at least from my perspective, we've got to be a little more diligent because there's not as much regulation.
Do we need a carve out in our policy for those organizations so that it's not misleading if we say that they need to be regulated?
No, that's existing policy. USDA changed their rules. And I think there was the expectation on some of their parts that our rules would automatically change as well. Well, we can't absorb losses like USDA can. We have a different mission.
Can't print money.
I mean, we could, but I want to make sure Dan didn't hear me say that.
Yeah, I mean, it is additional access to capital for.
Well, and if you've got a good director, they can really stimulate a lot of good things in a community in Lewistown side. So that's the real positive. But we've just discussed the negative is, are they doing that properly from a fiduciary standpoint? And so I guess my opinion on this is I think this meets our standards now. And so we've got to follow our standards, I think. So, Terry.
So do we approve, does the board approve these or do they just come in?
There's no action,
I don't-
decision action.
That's another question, but I'm always trying to protect you and the staff.
Right.
If you're making hard decisions, you could blame that board or that loan committee. And I'm willing to take some of that blame.
Right.
And so going forward, where you may see some that are questionable, again, I'm not sure it's in our policy, but I would think that you might want it to be formally approved by the board.
But our policy 7710 board staff will determine approval of each applicant after reviewing the application.
So,
Word staff.
Board staff.
so right now, I guess we don't formally vote on this, but I would think that in the future, we might want to change that, but I think it's important for staff to know the consensus of the board too.
Absolutely.
And so I think the point of that here, where we're not making a decision. So I think your motion, Terry, might be out of order. I don't know what those say. But
We hear consensus.
we're just doing the consensus.
I'm hearing
for-
consensus. Is there
Consensus.
any
You note in
non-consensus?
the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think, yeah, go
I
ahead.
have a quick question. As we move forward and do tighten up the rules or see changes, what's our mechanism for making sure that we are current with changes or that we've taken the actions we need to, if in fact our policy tightens and we have folks, entities that have already been through? Is there a mechanism for us to check and recheck?
Once you approve a new policy as is proposed, we'll go through and do a quick review and see. We've been lucky to this point, lucky or good, depending on your perspective, that some of these problems haven't hit us yet. And we're getting a little bit ahead of the curve of those, I'll call them suboptimal lenders coming in to do the loans that are already approved banks don't want to touch. So getting that approval on the 16th with the new policy and then being able to know going on a go forward basis what the rules are is better for us.
Okay. So anything else, Doug or Dan, on this subject?
No.
Okay. So I think we can move on with that consensus. We've got some intercap work to do, and I'm glad to see Louise here. And so if you want to go ahead and proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So we have a couple of school districts that need a little money. So they have a couple of building projects they have going on. The first one is Hinsdale Public School District. This one, they are requesting to borrow $1,138,536. Would have been nice to kind of round that up a little bit, but here we are. But they're going to split that amount between the elementary and the high schools as written out there. And also this will be a 10-year term. So the repayment on this is a successful building reserve levy election that they've had. Part of the recommendation was that we receive the certified results on that, and it was over 70% approval. So they had some good turnout and some good things there. So that levy, because it is the biggest part of repaying this loan, we will make sure that that loan is maturity lines up with when that levy falls off. And we are recommending approval.
Eric?
Just as a matter of curiosity, how many students are there in the Hinsdale schools?
I'm sorry, I would have to look that
I'm
up.
just sort of interested how big that school is.
I can look it
Small.
up for you.
Very small.
So I figured. Need a motion?
Yes, please.
I would move that we approve this request.
For a second. Second. Any other questions or comments? Not all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved unanimously. Okay.
64
64.
elementary and high school total.
Yeah, K8 or K12.
I'm so glad we can find that.
1 to 5 teacher ratio.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, maybe I should see my grandson's there.
Yeah, they would love that.
Too far away from the trampoline.
Yeah. Are you sure you want that in the minutes?
And I would also like to point out too, that this really is a focus on their HVAC system and their boiler. Their boiler is 54 years old, so it's failing horribly. And that's really the biggest part of this project. All right, thank you. They'll be excited to know. Moving on to West Yellowstone. This one's really no surprise as to trying to fix a housing issue in that area for their employees. So Yellowstone, K through 12, they're requesting 1.5 million. And this is to finance employee housing. So what the plan is they have the property already, and they want to build a 4 to up to a 6-unit apartment building. And that way they have a place to put their teachers and employees, because in that area, the costs of living are just insane. So this is their avenue, and what they've done is that they have also received voter approval to get this done. We are recommending approval on this one as well.
Any questions at all?
Are they, I assume they rent these to people?
Right. They'll rent them back to the employees, the teachers.
Have we ever seen one where they sell them and then limit the amount of?
This is a first for us, and the reason why it is because the earlier bonds, when we had that tax exempt situation, that I would have looked at this as more like a private activity scenario. But now that we have a taxable bond, we don't fall under those private activity rules. And so this actually opens up for West Yellowstone the ability to get some affordable housing for people to keep them in their schools.
Do we know how many students they have?
I don't know about that one either. I'm sorry.
More than 64, would be my guess.
I think, and to the extent that's a concern, the board could add that as a condition to the loan, that they can't sell it within the time, as long as the loan is
Well,
outstanding.
it's sort of the opposite concern I have.
What's the, I
Well,
read that
so
one
in
wrong.
Missoula, what's been done multiple times is that it's been done through a nonprofit community organization where they own the land.
Mhm.
And they build condos. And then if you're income qualified, you can buy the condo. And then there's a restriction on how much profit you can make when you sell it.
Mhm.
And so it allows people to get some equity.
Mhm.
And boy, they just get snapped up like that. Even though the return is not that great,
Right.
I think it's 1% a year or something like that. And as more and more teachers that can't afford to
Right.
buy and, get any return on their equity, it'd be nice. I think it'd be nice to see.
So we're gonna see a lot of interest in the housing side now that the private activity is gone. Not only from K-12s, but talk to you about state agencies even. So I almost wonder if we should devote some mind share to thinking through how we want to, or if we want to structure that differently than a regular.
No, it's just been a very, very successful thing. It's been done strictly income wise, but I know now, and what the city, Missoula has done some land banking and then is using its land to leverage the construction of, trying to use this land to leverage the construction of affordable housing. And a piece of that is always owner for the people who buy. And the interest in that is just so great because it gives,
But I think going forward, I could see housing a major thing that we deal with on these. And I'd hate to see us overwhelmed or doing something that comes back that we should have thought of. So I would suggest maybe now's the time to look at that.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not our role to tell somebody how they're going to structure their houses, but it'd just be, maybe it is, I don't know, but
I mean, I've got lakefront property of Butte we can't give away.
yeah,
Different problems.
that's a different problem.
No.
That's,
It's a different lake too.
is the reason we're no longer under the
tax exempt is because now we're using the STIP money to,
Right, we have that bond. It's
so
now-
that,
it's now
that's, I mean,
taxable bond.
that was an I never thought of that when maybe we discussed that, but that's an interesting result of that shift and a good result. But I think you're right. We need to kind of be thinking about how we want this program to go forward. I think this is a great thing. I mean, I'm gonna.
No,
vote
it's a
for it.
great thing, and
Just like,
Diane, I
what's
mean,
the
this is,
best way
this
to
is
do it?
incredibly necessary, and so I don't want to throw any impediments in the way, but I would
Slow down,
also
just-
ask
yeah.
if there's a way that maybe we could think about this, or maybe we're the ones that research whether or not it's even possible. I don't know if the school district can
I don't know either. And
build housing and then sell it.
We definitely can't find staff in many communities.
Right.
We have
The
homeless.
Habitat for Humanities here just had a mailer that it takes 54% of an average teacher's wage to pay for housing in Lewis and Clark County. So.
And then there's healthcare. I mean, it's just there's just a number of.
Higher in Gallup.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, it's just, it's, and I'll be honest, with the parent of a son who's a teacher, who can't even begin to think about buying a place in Missoula. It'd be nice to see him have some options.
I will take a motorcycle ride and figure it out.
Okay.
I hope we approve this loan request. Right.
Okay, is there a second? We'll let Bruce do that one. Moved in second. Any other questions, comments? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. It's approved unanimously. I'd hate to be done too early, so is there any other things that I know you're gonna present tomorrow, but anything that you would like to talk to the board about or comments on
You give me
people
this-
getting old or anything?
Mr. Chairman, you give me this much time, I can get in a lot of trouble. So I will just go, I will leave you at that. Thank you very much for the loan request approvals. And if anybody wants to hear a good joke about a fisherman and a priest, I am happy to tell you that in my office.
All right, Doug, do you have anything else for us?
No, I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Thank you all. So loan committee is adjourned.
Up to you. Sure.
Quick break for me.
Audit was so efficient.
Look at my brain.
Well, actually, why don't we shut down and then break?
Okay. Oh,
Because then we'd have to come back in to break.
yeah, let's do it.
So I'm calling the Human Resource Committee